I wasn't. Welcome, everybody, to ChimiComics Reviews. Today we are doing Superman reviews. That's right, we're going to do every Superman movie. I'm talking all 6 of them, starting with Superman 1978, which is what we started off with. That's right, the Richard Donner directed, Christopher Reeve starring, Gene Hackman, Lutheran, Marlon Brando, Papa, starring Superman movie.
Who did the music?
Jeff Williams.
Yeah.
Or John Williams.
John
Yeah.
Williams.
John Williams. Freaking great.
Yeah, the
Freaking
music was great.
score.
That's the only.
Freaking great
The
score.
only,
That's the best thing.
The
about
best
the
thing
movie.
about the movie is John Williams, which is not surprising.
I don't know. I thought it would be like charming.
It was
quite
charming.
good.
For what it was. It was the first superhero movie that was...
Well, I watched it with Riley. Tanner watched it by himself. Just watching Riley's reaction was golden. He was just like, they completely disregarded the canon. And I was just like, this is great.
It's its own thing. But, obviously, I'm going to give you a little bit of trivia on Superman 1978. Steven Spielberg was offered the chance to direct the movie. Producers balked at his salary he asked for, and then they decided to see how Jaws performed, and then it was a huge success. So then Spielberg didn't take Superman. So that's how we got
Probably would have been better if he did.
Donner. I don't know. Christopher Reeve was out of 200 people asked to be Superman. Originally they asked, yes, he won too, and they didn't think he could do it. But he won the role. I'm trying to figure out who they asked. They asked.
He's perfect. Like, he looks like Superman.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he plays the part better than anybody. Oh, okay. The casting director first suggested Christopher Reeve for the role, but Richard Donner and Salkind felt he was too young and too skinny. Nevertheless, Reeve did an excellent screen test and blew the director and producers away. Once he had the part, he underwent a strict physical training, and he went from 170 pounds to 212. From pre-production to filming.
Get swole.
He also, besides besides being Clark Kent and Superman in the movie, he plays the voice of the Metropolis air traffic controller, and he is heard on the radio before the helicopter crash during the Air Force One scenes. So I mentioned that other people were offered the movie's title role of Superman, those being Robert Redford, Clint Eastwood, and James Caan. All 3 turned it down. Redford wanted too much money. Eastwood said he was too busy, and Khan said, "There's no way I'm getting into that silly suit."
I want to see a Clint Eastwood Superman though. Just, this city ain't big enough for the 2 of us. Lex.
It's true. It's true.
He goes, but then he uses laser eyes.
Why was he approached? He doesn't look anything like Superman.
Because he was a big. He was a
Because
big
he's a
name.
big star, probably.
Yeah.
I understand.
So we also mentioned that. Now this is one of the funnier things that I read from the facts, the fun trivia section, and it was when Gene Hackman was cast as Lex Luthor. Obviously, he never actually shaved his hair for the role of Lex Luthor. Instead, they tried to weird up his hair every time so it looked like he was wearing wigs, and he had a little stand that had wigs on it. But he doesn't pull it off till the end of the movie. Yeah, Gene Hackman refused to cut off his mustache to play Lex Luthor. So in one of the earlier parts of the movie, his face is featured with a mustache. But Richard Donner and Hackman met face to face, and Donner proposed that Hackman should cut his mustache, and Donner would cut his too. And Hackman agreed. It turned out later that Donner did not even have a mustache, and he wore a false mustache that he just peeled off at the last moment.
That's pretty good.
Christopher Reeve, you mentioned that he was getting swole. Christopher Reeve worked out so much during the making of the film that the traveling shots that were taken at the beginning of the film did not match the later shots, so they had to replace them and completely reshoot it.
Wow.
Clark Kent and Superman's hair part is on opposite sides. And I think that's one of the best parts in the movies.
Okay.
In the movie is that Clark Kent and Superman are basically completely different, and you can actually tell the difference between them.
Yeah.
and it's actually really good.
And he hunches over too. Like he actually hunches.
Riley's
Yeah.
dad watched the movie with us, and he hated how he acted
Really?
clumsy. He was like,
I
hate
loved it.
He was like, I hate it when they act clumsy in movies just to add comedy. And Riley's trying to exploit him. Dad, it's an act. He's trying to be the opposite of Superman. He's
Yeah.
like, I don't care.
That's my bad.
I'm trying to find. So there was a thing that they were talking about. I believe it was Robert Redford or somebody was sitting on set outside the studio, and Christopher Reeve walks by in the Superman outfit, and all the girls are going crazy. They're like, "Oh, Superman!" Like, they're all coming up to him and stuff. Well, then Robert Redford said he came back as Clark Kent, and no one said a damn thing to him. No one cared that he walked through. No one gave two craps that he walked by.
That's
Wow.
pretty cool.
Yeah, so like I thought that was like that's awesome. That tells you he knew the difference between the characters and he played it up right. So, boys, let's get into the plot.
All right.
Yay.
We open
What
up.
plot?
Yeah.
The plot.
That's what I say.
We plot.
We open up to something that
The movie starts with a kid reading a comic book. Superman #1.
I did like that.
And then we get into 5 minutes of title screen.
Yeah, me and
Of
Riley were
words
just like,
coming. And
what
this
does
title
this-
screen made my eyes hurt
Yeah.
insanely
It
bad.
did it not look like a classic Doctor Who intro?
It did, but it hurt.
It wasn't as short
It
and it
hurt
wasn't as
so
sweet
bad.
as one of those.
At which then we get to the planet Krypton, and Jor-El is there, who's played by Marvin Brando.
Did their clothes blind you?
They're very white, very white clothes. Marvin Brando actually, he said, "I want the Superman symbol on the chest." So he's the guy who came up with that. That would be the home crest. I thought that was cool. I didn't know that was his idea. I didn't know that wasn't canon before, but apparently it wasn't.
Well,
So that was all his idea.
Something
And
to
he's trying to convince the Kryptonian High Council that the sun's gonna destroy Krypton, and they don't care or whatever. And then
Well,
they lock Zod away too.
Yeah, and that had nothing to do with anything else in the movie.
They filmed Superman 1 and Superman 2 at the same time.
Oh, really?
That's why. They were setting up Superman 2. They filmed them at the exact same time.
I
Um,
don't think. What do you think of the casting for Zod?
I haven't seen the
Not
second one,
bad.
so
Yeah, but I mean, I think
maybe
it's-
he'll
I-
be good.
no, the one in the first movie, the Zod there.
Is it 2 different Zods?
I don't know.
No, probably not. If
I
they
figured
set
it's
up-
the same one.
Same one, but I mean, I figured that did not look like who I
I
expected.
hold
Zod
back
to
my
be.
judgment.
That's what we're saying.
Until
like,
the
just the
second
look
one.
of him.
Yeah.
He has a beard.
And he's like really, like deathly skinny.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
Like he looks like he's starving.
I'm okay with that.
I don't think so.
I thought he looked like a good Zod. As long as he's evil
The
and everything, I don't
Super-
care.
this-
He's
Does-
a general though. He's supposed to be
Yeah.
all buff and macho.
Does Superman snap his neck in Superman 2 like in Man of Steel?
Nah, I'm okay with it. I think he's a fine Zod.
Scrawny.
So
Scrawny
then he
man.
launches him in a spaceship to Earth. Oh, also they put Zod in the little Phantom Zone,
Yeah.
which is a little square.
Yeah.
And they fly out.
I'll
Yeah.
break out.
I liked that.
When he
So
was traveling through space, those effects were bad.
Yeah.
well, it's
When he was
1978.
going, when he was going to Earth, it was really bad.
1978. The credits on this movie cost more money than most movies at that time did.
Oh yeah.
Gee, I
Yeah.
wonder why.
So after this, the Krypton sun explodes and the ship crashes to Smallville, Kansas, and I believe this is actually Canada. I believe it was filmed in Canada, and is now Kal-El's 3 years old, and he's found by Jonathan and Martha Kent,
And he just goes
and he
picks up
lifts a truck, which is a callback to Superman #1 where he lifts a car.
Yeah.
I appreciated that.
I didn't like that scene.
So then they decide to raise him, and they give him the Clark name and Clark Kent or whatever. So then we move forward to when Clark is 18 years old, and he gets a call from his dad, who is obviously Marvin Brando. So then he goes to the Arctic, and he is in the Fortress of Solitude, and then Jor-El is explaining to him his origins. And
I could not
telling
understand the
everything.
thing Jor-El said during that entire thing. The audio
Oh yeah, I
quality
couldn't either.
was terrible.
Mine wasn't bad.
Well, were you watching with headphones?
No,
You weren't.
no.
we couldn't hear it. We didn't understand a word he
It was
said.
like someone talking into a walkie-talkie.
It was super echoey.
Well, it was echoey. It was echoey, but I could understand him.
Well,
for like
+4.
a good solid 2 minutes. I didn't know what he said.
I had subtitles on too, though.
Oh, well, that's probably
yeah.
helpful.
Yeah, but so then he gets the suit, which is a blue and red suit. Supposedly, the suit that they originally made for him in the movie was a lot darker blue. You know how it was super light? It was almost like this light, or your light.
Yeah.
Probably yours. But and it was supposedly really dark, like the
Like
Henry
the Man of
Cavill.
Steel?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It was dark like that, but it interfered with the blue screen that was behind him.
Oh, yeah.
So they had to change it to a lighter blue. So
Okay.
that's what they did. So then he
blue
gets
screens back then.
yes. This is very early age of CGI and stuff. So after this, he leaves with it, and it has the House of L family crest that Marvin Brando had, and he becomes a reporter at the Daily Planet, and there he develops an attraction to Lois Lane.
Mm-hmm.
Did y'all? Okay. There's a scene that happens, and Lois Lane and Clark, they get mugged.
Yeah.
How did y'all like that scene? It felt like to me that Superman wasn't gonna do anything. Like he would have let her get shot.
Oh,
whether they
yeah,
reveal
yeah.
he was Superman.
He was
or
putting
like
way too much into the Clark.
But
Just
they made Lois a strong character,
Yeah.
did they not?
She kicked him, but I mean, all that did was make him fire the gun.
I
and
know.
Superman, she thinks he gets
Well,
shot.
like, he catches the bullet
catches
last
the
second.
bullet.
Yeah.
So I feel like that was his plan the whole time. was
Yeah,
just to
but
be
he was
really
just
fast.
like, not do it.
He's just like,
Like, hope that he doesn't do
Uh,
anything, but if he does, he's fast enough.
Yeah.
no, so we should probably do what he says.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But,
you're
I mean, what'd you
Lois.
want him to do? Just grab him and fly into the sky?
He should
I
have
don't
laser
know.
eyed him.
You punk!
He should have injusticed him.
I don't know. But before this, when
That was just like, Clark, what the hell?
when Clark is,
Wait, just a second. Did he have that vision in this movie?
No, he didn't
did
use it.
I didn't see
If he
it.
had
Or
it.
the breath.
I didn't see it.
Okay.
And
All
what's
right, just
so
making sure I
this,
wasn't crazy.
this wasn't Superman back when he could just invent new powers during an issue.
True. But he can go back in time.
Yeah. We'll get to that.
So what happens? I forgot about young Superman. So when he's young Superman, he's like running, like I guess he like runs in front of a train. He runs
Yeah.
alongside the train,
And that was stupid
he's,
looking.
he's got the weirdest run ever.
Yes.
So that was
Oh, he's not on a cable. or
he's a
anything.
completely different actor, but they like muted the actor's dialogue and put Christopher Reeves over his. And there was a part where
Wow.
so you know where he's running and everything,
Yeah.
and
He beats the train. He beats the
he beats the
football
train.
players.
Well, first of all, while he's running, they put a dirt bike to make the
Cloud.
the cloud that is behind him and everything. They used a dirt bike for that.
Okay.
And then when he jumps in front of the train, they actually did that stunt, and they had to get a stunt coordinator had to grab the kid at the last minute to not let him get hit by it.
What?
Yeah. I'm telling you, man, a lot went into movies back
Dude,
then.
wow.
have you ever heard of the movie? It was like super historically accurate of the attack on Pearl Harbor called Tora Tora Tora, and they used remote controlled planes to crash and stuff, and one of them went haywire and veered off course and ran into a row of planes, and you see people running, actors, and it's actors and crew.
Oh my god.
Dang.
But
I was like, wow, this is very
crazy.
realistic.
But they used the shot in the movie?
What?
They used that shot in
Yeah,
the movie?
because it was so real.
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
God.
It was made around the same time too.
So after he meets Lois Lane, Lois becomes involved in a helicopter accident.
The
and this is
stupidest
where-
helicopter crash I've ever seen.
Okay, it's basically impossible. By the way, it's an impossible helicopter crash, but it happens. So this helicopter scene was intended to be on shot of the Pan Am building, but in real life, a helicopter crashed
Oh.
there and killed several people, so they couldn't do it there anymore. So they had to do it somewhere else, I guess. But
Pan Am. That was
Yeah.
a company.
that was a company.
You mean
The green screen in the helicopter was awful, by the way.
Just flashes of people and Lois just screaming for no reason. It was so dumb.
Also, there was a little girl on the train when he was running by it, and that was Lois Lane. I didn't understand that.
They didn't show that in the movie at all.
They showed it online.
Do you remember that? There was a girl on the train when he ran
On the
past
train
it.
when he ran past it, and she like looked out the window.
Oh, okay, I remember
Yeah,
that. I didn't know
and
that
then
was
she was
Lois.
like, Lois Lane? She was like, it's okay, Lois. And then
didn't
I was
catch
like,
that.
this
I
is
didn't
a little
catch it.
tiny girl. I was like, that makes no sense. Are we saying that Lois is insanely younger than Superman?
That wouldn't make sense.
I didn't
because
think
she-
so.
Oh,
But
yeah,
Superman does age slower, so I mean, it could make sense.
Nah, I don't think so.
A
'Cause,
little
just like
iffy.
it was just like right after high school that he went to.
No, but like
Our
he's supposed to be the same age as her.
Yeah.
on
True.
Earth.
Also, you know where he kicks the football?
That may have just been a metaphor or something.
So
Not
for the
an actual
Football,
Lois.
they actually got an air cannon.
Oh yeah.
From
they like-
Pumpkin Chunkin.
They put it behind like a hill and they just shot it. They said that was Superman kicking it.
That's cool.
Yeah, so the helicopter got perfectly stuck and then falls after being perfectly stuck, and Superman catches it and Lois. I thought that
Yeah.
was good.
And he was holding it like a baseball bat.
Yeah.
One arm.
Yeah.
Like this.
So after that, after the helicopter scene where he catches it,
He just goes around the city and starts.
yes, we get the Superman. The Superman, I'm awesome and I'm gonna do everything heroic in maybe 20 minutes. We get 20 minutes of that. A few notes I have from that is
the cat burglar.
okay, I got the cat on there. He catches the burglar, and then the burglar's just like, all right. Like,
was
the
the one- that
burglar
was the
does
one
not
that was-
fight back at all.
He was climbing up a skyscraper using suction cups, pretty much.
Yeah, and like the burglar's just like, okay. He just gives him to the cop.
What would you do if some guy flew up 20 stories to where you are and said, "Hey, you're coming with me"?
I don't know if
I'd-
I would just be like, okay.
I wouldn't fight back.
I would freak the fuck out.
No, I feel like it's understandable because you'd be like trying not to piss him off.
True.
Yeah.
True. Okay.
I would be like, okay, you got me.
Okay. And then there's a car chase scene, right? And these cops are chasing this car.
Yeah.
These cops are freaking brutal. They are shooting, just freaking rapid
It's like
firing at
GTA
this car.
cops.
Yeah, the glass is breaking in this car. The cops are just firing into it. It was a different time.
I will say that car chase scene was probably one of my favorite parts of the movie.
Like
Really?
Because
action-wise.
it was actually good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was well done.
And they end up at the dock, and two of the guys surrender, and the other get on on a boat and start taking off, and that's when Superman shows up. Like, he doesn't fly up behind them, but he flies up right on the front, just lowers down, and the dudes are counting all the money they stole, and they just look up, and there he is.
But it was like good driving. It was a good
Yeah.
car chase scene. It was like, just reminded me of old films I've seen.
Oh, yeah.
Like Steve
remember,
McQueen type stuff.
yeah. I remember how he arrested those people, too. He picked up the boat and dropped it at the police station.
That was crazy.
Quick question. So you mentioned the cat that he saves in a tree, and that's
Yeah.
the third one before we get to the last little famous Superman thing that he does. Has anybody ever seen like an actual cat being saved from a tree, like in real
No,
life, or is
I
this like
actually haven't.
is that like a fake thing?
That's a trope or something.
In my head, I was like, I've never seen this in real life. I've never
I've
seen
se-
a
I've-
cat
I
being
have
saved from a
cats.
tree.
I have cats, and they do get up in trees, but they just get down
Yeah, they get
themselves.
down.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't make sense.
So
whatever.
it's probably from people who are like, "Oh no, the cat can't get down." It can get down. It's just
Yeah.
up there chilling, and you're
I
calling
have
the
no
fire
idea.
department.
He gives the woman the cap. Okay, then we get to the final act of heroism by Superman, and it's when an airplane gets struck by lightning,
It's
and
not
then
just any airplane.
am I missing one?
It's Air Force
I
One.
feel like I'm missing one. You remember where the train's coming and Superman acts like the track?
Yeah, that. Did
I knew I was
happen,
missing
yeah.
one. The train just drives over him.
He
I was like, but
grabs
what?
hold of the
I'm like,
track.
but what happens after he leaves?
I guess the train. would've
Superman can't
realized
be
they
the
would-
track forever.
They probably called ahead
Yeah, they
and
probably
closed it
could call
down,
somebody.
yeah.
or he called. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter. Like,
True.
Hey!
So,
he just flies right up to the train station. Hey, your track's broken.
uh,
Bye. Remember him saying bye really weirdly?
And he waved.
Yeah.
He's like, Bye. To that little girl when he saved the cat.
Yeah.
Of course
Bye.
he was.
He flies away.
He's Superman, man. All
And
right.
he flew so slow too. He was like just floating up in the air.
So one thing I read was Christopher Reeve actually was a hang glider. So he tried to.
He was a
Yes.
hang glider
Yes.
physically.
No. But he would do that. And so that's where he got his like flying poses from.
Okay,
So that makes sense, I thought.
Yeah.
that's cool.
So that's cool. So there was an airplane that gets struck by lightning and it takes out one of the engines, and Superman becomes
Is the engine?
the engine on the side.
I showed Riley this meme of a picture of like a dude in the Air Force, and he's like tied under the wing of like
Yeah.
a plane with an M16, and it says military budget cuts. I'm like, that's Superman.
That is. But then I loved the pilot in this scene. He just goes, he looks, he's Superman just waves.
Nope, don't
And then-
question it.
and he
Don't
just
look-
says, he
don't
says,
look at him.
fly, just fly. Not telling you what it is, just trust me.
Superman becomes an engine.
Yeah, so
was
they
so
land,
dumb.
and
It's-
then we get, so,
That plane wasn't just any plane, by the way. It was Air Force One. It had the president on it.
it was. What was those two guys who were trying to find Lex's lair?
Those were just two cops.
Yeah.
looking
Oh, it was
around.
cops?
Yeah, they were
Okay,
like-
I didn't know who they were.
detectives.
Yeah.
I never figured out who they were.
And
But
one
they
of
were
them
trying to
died.
find Lex's lair, and I thought this was great super villainy by Lex. They come up, and they go through the tunnel, and they find it. They finally find the door, and then it just
Only one
pushes
of
them
them.
back out
And into the train.
and into the train. And I was like, that is incredible, and I love
No,
it.
that was good.
I will say, the interactions between Lex and his minion Otis, that
Otis.
wasn't like a.
Otisville.
Yeah, that wasn't what I expected. It was like what I'd see from the villains of the Andy Griffith Show or the Three Stooges.
Yeah.
He was very stereotypical
Yeah.
villain, but we have to remember that in this age, the Bond villains were really huge,
Yeah.
and that's basically what Luther was in this movie. So,
Yeah.
Lex has a swimming pool in the cave, though, which I think is awesome, and a whole library and all kinds of stuff,
That swimming pool had to do with the greatest part of the movie.
and he's super jealous of Superman.
This movie came out in 1978. Wyatt.
Yeah, so.
And he's
they're probably
super
not good looking anymore.
jealous of Superman. So then Superman, we cut back to him and Lois Lane. Clark leaves a note for Lois, and he says meet her on the rooftop, and he'll give her an interview to help her career because she's struggling with her career right now or something, and he wants her to be better. Blah 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 blah. So this is where we get the cancer joke
Yeah.
about her having lung cancer. Because he
Oh.
tells her smoking's bad for her. And she's
Yeah,
like,
because the person who shows up for the interview is Superman.
yes. And then he looks at her lungs.
With X-ray vision.
Yep.
He could have seen
He
something
flirts
else.
with her and gives height and weight. And he reveals to her a plot point, which is very important.
And she puts it in the interview.
And she puts it down. I was like, damn, Superman. I know this is setting up the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
He says, I can't see through lead.
Why would you say that?
Exactly.
I
He
don't
has
know.
no operation
Plot
security.
points.
It was
That's
just
why,
it was
plot.
for plot.
Oh, let's announce our weaknesses.
Yeah. Oh, you know
To the
Kryptonite?
general public.
Okay. And this is, in my opinion. Okay, wait. Do y'all want to talk more about the interview? I know y'all had some thoughts of it.
I like Pink Lois.
Yeah.
That was a great scene.
No.
No.
It was
was
very
incredible.
creepy,
Yeah.
actually.
It was
And
creepy,
she
but
was just completely fine with it. She was like, "Take me now, Superman."
Yeah.
a
pretty
woman
much.
gets sexually assaulted later in the movie, though, Riley. So, I mean, it's a sign of the times.
the time.
It is.
All
Wait,
the
when did a woman
times
get
they
sexually
are.
assaulted?
Well, you remember what's Lex Luthor's little apprentice woman?
Miss
Yeah.
Thutrucker or
Wow.
something?
Yeah, Thudrucker. Remember she like passes out, and the military guys are all around her.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, that did happen. And the commander's like, we need to give her mouth to mouth.
Yes.
And I wouldn't do anything. I wouldn't order my men to do anything I wouldn't do myself.
Yeah, and
She
then they
wasn't
all
actually
surround
passed
her.
out, though.
Yeah.
She was
Yeah.
pretending.
But okay, so this is, in my opinion, the worst part of the movie. He flies around with Lois.
Yeah.
And
For
we
like-
hear Lois's thoughts while they fly. And by the way, they're way above breathable atmosphere. They are in space. And Lois loves Superman. She has the creepiest commentary ever. And Clark thinks about telling her he's Superman, but we get an amazing contrast by Christopher Reeve. saying how he shouldn't and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
But also, they're flying, and she's like, he's flying. Does he know my thoughts?
Yeah, exactly. I was like, that's so stupid.
What I learned looking at trivia was originally they were going to put a song over this.
Oh my god.
Which makes perfect sense.
Okay.
It's like the I Can Show You the World scene in Aladdin. But with a song. Apparently, Richard Donner hated it, so he changed it to this.
Genius.
And I am like, holy crap. It in my opinion, it would have worked as a song.
I don't...
Because they are not making any expressions throughout their flight. They're just moving. So it would make sense to a song.
I'm fine with that.
Nah, I don't...
I hated her. You think this was better? You think the commentary, the creepy sounding commentary?
I don't think any of it would have been good, because, I mean, it's a Superman movie, not a musical.
True, but still, it would have been them flying, and then it's romance, too.
It would have just been
I
one,
digress.
Wyatt. Just one little scene.
Yeah, nah.
Okay, so then after this, we cut back to Lex, who's in his little secret place with his Otis, who's his little accomplice guy.
That guy literally did look
And
like Otis from
what
the
was
Andy
the woman?
Griffith Show.
What was the one?
Thudrucker?
Thudrucker, whatever. Thatcher,
Thud-
whatever her name was. Tessmacher, who knows?
Tessmacher, that was it.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Okay, so Lex uses the interview that Superman just had to know weaknesses, and he also finds out about a mysterious rock that landed out in, where was it, Arizona?
I thought it was like over in Asia or something. Like
I don't know.
It was super far away.
Matter.
Doesn't matter.
Thailand.
But somehow Lex knows it's from Krypton, and somehow he knows that it could kill Superman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
that's
didn't
all
really
we need to
explain
know.
that. Didn't really explain that.
That's all we need to know.
Explain that. They didn't.
So he buys worthless land for no reason and takes the meteorite. And then I liked this. He talked to Superman through TVs. Just like a dastardly old villain would.
And then
And
he
I
did
loved
something. He put a message in a frequency that only dogs and Superman could hear.
That was awesome too.
That was cool.
Lex Luthor loved him in this movie. Clark jumps out of a window and changes to Superman on the way down. He goes, and then he just changes to Superman.
And then the next
He
day
didn't
on the
actually change clothes though. He just went whoom.
He like teleported and became a different
It
person.
just appeared.
I know.
he did the Dragon Ball Z where they just like, move super fast.
And
You can't see
might
them.
I add, he lands, and he realizes he needs to get to Lex, who's underground.
Oh yeah.
What is
drills.
Superman to do? He spins around like a dreidel,
He becomes a human drill.
and he drills
Right in the middle of
around.
Manhattan,
Yeah.
mind you.
He drills down to get to Lex.
Dang
And
it.
he doesn't fight Lex or anything. He's just like talking to him, and Lex is like a Bond villain, just discussing with him all his plans and ideologies.
Oh
and
man.
just like, do you want a drink? And he's cracking jokes the entire time. And we get the great scene where he's talking about his entire plan. He's bought up all this worthless land, and then he's going to nuke the good land in California and the West Coast. So everyone moves to the worthless land that he now owns.
Yes. So his plan is to sink the half of California that's falling into the water.
By nuking the fault line.
Which,
Yeah.
might I add, Lex Luthor knows that this is going to happen anyways in real life because of global warming.
Yeah.
So, Lex, being the opportunist, says, why don't I just get this property earlier and make me some buttloads of money when this eventually collapses?
Didn't you say that however many megatons he said would like, blow up a continent?
He said, what about 500 megatons? And I was like, that'd blow up a continent. That might blow up the planet. The biggest was like 50. The biggest bomb ever detonated was 50. It was the Tsar bomb from Russia.
I wrote down a note here that says nuclear middle guy was in Far From Home and Iron Man. I have no idea what that note was for, but if you know, please let me know. Maybe this guy was in Far From Home and Iron Man. What? But I don't know why I wrote that.
Was he one of the officers like that was
Maybe.
in the thing? Because in Iron Man, Tony Stark meets with a bunch of military officers when he shows off those big missiles, and then he's like, "If you spend $500,000, you get one of these nice liquor coolers."
I really don't know, but he was there, according to my notes. he throws Superman. Okay, so this is where we get the scene of, hey, Superman, you should open this box that's lined with lead.
He's like, oh,
Because you can't see it. It's like a mystery prize for you.
He tells him that he leads onto it being like the detonator, so he can disable the nukes, and that's why he goes for it. He doesn't just say, oh, you better open that. Might be something in there.
Got a present for you.
Because Superman, he looks through everything, and you see him looking through all his stuff, and you can see it, like they edited it in. But then the one thing he can, he's like, oh, well, this has to be where it is. You thought you could hide it with lead, couldn't you?
Oh yeah, did you like the X-ray vision traveling through the room?
Yes.
Showing things.
I liked that. I thought it was cool. So then he unlocks it, and it's a kryptonite piece. And he's like, oh, my weakness. And then Lex Luthor freaking puts it on a chain and puts it around Superman's neck. I'm like, badass, go for it.
And then
kill
throws
him.
him into the pool.
Fucking kill him. So then
Throws him in the pool.
Yeah, so then he throws him in the pool. He's like, drown, motherfucker. So he throws him in the pool. And
This episode is R-rated, by the way.
it's always R-rated when I'm on the show. But so then Miss Tessmacher saves him because she has the hots for Superman.
Greatest scene in the entire movie.
So she saves him, and then she's like,
kisses him.
I'm going to sexually assault you first.
Yeah.
So
She
then
does say
kisses
that,
him
yeah.
unprovokedly. So then she kisses him.
She says, and I quote.
Yes. And then he leaves. And he does that little Superman smile. Of the, I got sexually assaulted, but it's okay because I'm Superman. And he flies off, and we get a scene.
That saying says a lot about our society.
We get a scene of these missiles. These missiles that Luthor launched,
and
right?
they're flying just over the land. They're not up in orbit like an actual missile. They're just like, here's the ground. Here's the
My
missile.
note right here says, missiles defy the laws of physics and are just fucking going. They're just going. They're never going to land. They're just freaking going.
Gravity has no
going.
effect.
So one hits, and there's an earthquake. And this is the Superman saves people montage.
Yeah.
That's the train scenes, and he'd be at a train track and stuff like that.
Yeah. You could easily tell that the flood of the Hoover Dam
It's damaging the Golden Gate Bridge. The Hollywood sign's getting damaged to collapse. Hoover Dam is breached, endangering lives. He seals the fault line.
Yeah, he just
Oh yeah.
he just straight up seals a fault line himself.
From reaching fruition. And while Superman is busy saving others, Lois, and I assume that was Jimmy Olsen.
Yeah, it was Jimmy.
And they're investigating. Did anybody understand that?
They're investigating all the land that's being bought.
The land that was bought, and they were interviewing the little
Indian
Native
man.
American. Gotcha.
Yeah,
Okay.
Gotta be politically correct.
Yeah. So Lois falls into the crevice because of one of the aftershocks of the earthquake, and
She's
it
buried
traps
alive
her,
in
and
her
she's
car.
she's buried alive. So Superman's unable to reach her, and she suffocates. Angered at the at not being able to save her, Superman defies Jor-El, and he flies up in the air, and he accelerates around the Earth, traveling several minutes backward in time to prevent Lois's death.
Because that can actually happen, you know?
Yeah, of course, man. He was so pissed, though.
That gif you
That
put in
face.
the group chat. I just
That I
realized
didn't mind. That
in
made
the-
sense.
in Epic Rap Battles of History, the
Yeah.
one they did of him versus Goku, that
Yeah.
shot is in there because he's like flying up to start
That's
fighting
awesome.
Goku. He's just like, ah.
I mean, honestly, with the if we think of like the Injustice games, if Superman had the opportunity to where he would fly backwards to prevent Lois dying, he definitely fucking would.
Oh, yeah, totally.
But then
I
Injustice wouldn't
admit,
happen.
I admit, this probably wasn't good for Superman as a character, but it fit the Superman of that time, in my humble opinion.
Yeah, your opinion's very humble.
If you don't know anything about time,
Yes, I know. I don't think this ever happens. The
I'm
rest of
pretty
the
sure
series.
physics.
whoever in the DC universe is over time and space, the time and space police are gonna show up and be like, dude, what the hell?
Also, did he just reverse time to the point where Lois wouldn't die?
So then what happened to all the
Yeah,
other
like
parts?
all those other people he could have saved too.
Did they die? Did they die
I
instead?
have no idea.
Lois
But,
is worth
well,
thousands
that
of
was
lives.
after he saved the people. He saved all those people and then tried to save Lois.
Oh,
Okay.
She was last.
After this, he takes Lex Luthor and Otis and he delivers them
this
to
part.
prison.
He just drops them into the yard at the state prison. Has he never heard of due process? You can't
Yes.
do that.
But then we get the great scene
Yeah.
of Lex Luthor taking off his wig. I'm Lex Luthor, greatest criminal mastermind of all time. And I was like, yes. Yes, you are.
I fell into the floor.
He did.
rolling.
Riley loved that part, and I laughed too.
I love him as Lex
As
Luthor.
ridiculous as this movie was, that was the most ridiculous.
Yeah.
It was. I didn't appreciate him announcing himself as the criminal mastermind. I wish he would have just said that I am savior of the world or something.
Well, like, you know how when you see Lex Luthor today, he's all like calm and collected,
And your
like,
president.
Jackman is not.
incredibly evil, and he's like, I am the most superior person
Yes.
on earth. But
I'm the president.
this one, he's just like, ha ha!
It was me the whole time.
He's egotistical.
You thought it was
And like
him, but
that-
it was me.
that part with Tim,
Ew.
like just freaking nuking California to make money, like that.
It's real estate,
That
Riley.
is not Lex Luthor.
He used them for real estate.
The whole point behind
You
Lex
used
Luthor
me
is he wants
for
to
land
protect
development.
Earth from Superman.
Yeah.
He's like a champion of humanity,
Mm-hmm.
even though he's not a good dude.
After watching The Boys, I feel for Lex Luthor more.
Fair enough.
The boys.
Like, I
needs
feel like
Lex.
I was
I've
like,
always understood.
if Lex
the
Luthor was on The Boys, we would love him.
Well, like there's been
We would praise
Yeah.
Luthor.
Imagine if
There's
in
been-
Batman versus Superman, instead of Lex doing that whole thing with Doomsday, what if he teamed up with Batman? Because he's convinced him, like, yeah, Superman, he's gonna
Batman
do
would
it.
have totally been down.
Yeah, he would have.
But
That
like
would- that
we've
would
had a
be
lot of
interesting.
good iterations of Lex Luthor,
Yeah.
to where it's understandable to be on his side
Yeah.
against Superman.
It's true, but also, so then we get the sunrise of Superman flying
Into space.
into space for more adventures.
He doesn't need to breathe.
and it's incredible.
Hmm.
But so that's the movie, and the movie
What a
ends.
movie.
What a movie.
But after the movie ends, after we get those 5 minutes of starting credits, we get 8 minutes of after credits.
Oh, did you watch him?
I didn't.
No, but it was in
Oh.
the trivia, and I was like, "Wow, I didn't
Oh.
know that." That's
Was there an
incredible.
after credits scene?
There was not. There was not.
Did those happen before the MCU? No.
I don't think so.
They might have happened once or twice. I'm not gonna say that they didn't happen. But okay, then the movie ends. So I want to know. Obviously, this Superman, we've got 6 to rank.
Mm.
Do we want to put it at a place right now?
No,
Or do we want to just say it's number 1 for now?
I say we don't put it in any place and just wait till we get through all
We'll
of
say
them and then
it's
make
here.
the list.
So here's the placeholder. We're
Yeah.
waiting for whatever's
Yeah.
next to be on top of that.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
All right, so Superman 1978.
Definitely a.
It's an up for me. Down from these guys, up for me. Superman 1978 is good. Go watch it.
I will
If you
admit-
want a timeless classic, go watch
I
Superman
will admit,
1978.
I appreciate the
Classic.
significance of the film and the history behind it. And
There is.
actually, I enjoyed all this trivia you brought up
Christopher
more than
Reeve.
the movie.
Yeah, more
Christopher
than the
Reeve
movie.
is awesome. Okay, I forgot about Marvin Brando. So we know he's Godfather guy, right?
Look how
Robert!
they massacred my boy.
Who's the guy? Who does Marvin Brando play in Godfather? Don Corleone is who he plays. So in this movie, they paid him an ass ton of money. An ass ton of money. But he didn't remember any of his lines. And they put this baby, the baby that's Superman, little baby, into the rocket. They put the lines on the diaper. And he is reading the lines off of the baby.
Makes sense.
Because he refused. He refused to memorize his lines. He said it's better if I just read them.
What kind of actor?
And he got a
I'm
percentage.
an actor. He's
He
an
got
asshole
he
actor.
got a percentage of the profits that the movie made too, and he complained that he got too little. So in the next movie, they had already shot his scenes for the next movie, Superman 2. They had to take him out because he sued the company.
What? How would he be in the second movie?
They filmed them both at the same time.
Yeah, remember?
But how is he going to be in the second movie?
Probably background, or him doing
like a flashback?
or him talking.
I don't know. They took it out.
He could have been talking from
It's
the
it-
Fortress of
but
Solitude.
he's
More
dead.
than likely, Fortress of Solitude. Yeah, but look at Fortress of Solitude, Marvin Brando. He's having a full-blown conversation. It's like Russell Crowe in Man of Steel.
Oh, wait, you're talking about the guy who played Jor-El.
Yeah.
Oh,
Space
you
Dad.
said diaper. I was like, what are you
Yeah,
talking
yeah.
about?
Well, I mean, he
When
was in
you see baby
his
Superman,
underwear,
'cause, I
baby
mean,
Superman.
remember, his Earth dad did not see him when he was a baby. Space Dad did.
Yes.
And
When he's
Space,
putting him in the spacecraft.
him and
Got you.
Superman's mom were very
was
old to be having
confused.
children.
Very much so.
Yeah.
But also, so that happens, and then they completely take him out of the second movie, and they don't use those scenes again until Superman Returns.
Oh,
So that's the scenes he actually shot for the second one in Superman Returns.
that's crazy.
Yeah, it's weird. But anyways, Superman 1978. Do y'all feel it's at least watchable? Do y'all think if you would recommend it, would you
It
say
made
to
me
watch
laugh enough
Yeah.
to where I could sit through it. But I was laughing at how bad it was,
Yeah.
not at
Not
things that were fun.
it? It's a sign of its time, and I respect that. Go watch Superman 1978. Follow along with us. Go watch Superman 2 if you want to be all up to date on the next Superman, and you'll see how we rank them
I
next
agree.
time.
You should at least watch it
Yeah.
once. Like, just
Once.
watch it.
It's true.
But laugh about how bad it is.
Yeah.
It's true. Go watch it.
Well,
Up, and away.
see ya, audience.
I like Pink Lois.